So when you're listening to iTunes and your favorite music, that's really just a bunch of ones and zeros playing very quickly. When you're seeing these pictures, it's all ones and zeros. When you're talking on your telephone, your cell phone, and it's going over the network, your voice is all being turned into ones and zeros and magically whizzed around. And look at all the complex things and wonderful things we've been able to create with just a 1 and a 0. Well, now you ramp that up to 4, and you have a lot of complexity, a lot of ways to describe mechanisms. So let's talk about what that means. So if you look at a human genome, they consist of 3.2 billion of these base pairs. That's a lot. And they mix up in all different fashions, and that makes you a human being. If you convert that to binary, just to give you a little bit of sizing, we're actually smaller than the program Microsoft Office. It's not really all that much data. I will also tell you we're at least as buggy. This here is a bug in my genome that I have struggled with for a long, long time. When you get sick, it is a bug in your genome. In fact, many diseases we have struggled with for a long time, like cancer, we haven't been able to cure because we just don't understand how it works at the genomic level. We are starting to understand that. So up to this point, we try to fix it by using what I call shit against the wall pharmacology, which means, well, let's just throw chemicals at it and maybe it's going to make it work. But if you really understand why does a cell go from normal cell to cancer, what is the code? What are the exact instructions that are making it do that? Then you can go about the process of trying to fix it and figure it out. So for your next dinner over a great bottle of wine, here's a few factoids for you. We actually have about 24,000 genes that do things. We have about 120,000 others that don't appear to function every day but represent this archival history of how we used to work as a species going back tens of thousands of years. You might also be interested in knowing that a mouse has about the same amount of genes. They recently sequenced Pinot Noir, and it also has about 30,000 genes. So the number of genes you have may not necessarily represent the complexity or the evolutionary order of any particular species. Now look around. Just look next to your neighbor, look forward, look backward. We all look pretty different. A lot of very handsome, pretty people here, skinny, chubby, different races, cultures. We are all 99.9% genetically equal. It is 1/100th of 1% of genetic material that makes the difference between any one of us. That's a tiny amount of material, but the way that ultimately expresses itself is what makes changes in humans and in all species. So, we are now able to read genomes. The first human genome took 10 years, $3 billion. It was done by Dr. Craig Venter. And then James Watson, one of the co-founders of DNA, genome was done for $2 million and in just 2 months. And if you think about the computer industry and how we've gone from big computers to little ones and how they get more powerful and faster all the time, the same thing is happening with gene sequencing now. We are on the cusp of being able to sequence human genomes for about $5,000 in about an hour or a half hour. You will see that happen in the next 5 years. And what that means is you are going to walk around with your own personal genome on a smart card. It will be here. And when you buy medicine, you won't be buying a drug that's used for everybody. You will give your genome to the pharmacist, and your drug will be made for you, and it will work much better than the ones that work. You won't have side effects. All those side effects, you know, oily residue, and you know, whatever they say in those commercials, forget about that. They're going to make all that stuff go away. What does a genome look like? Well, there it is. It is a long series of these base pairs. If you saw the genome for a mouse or for a human, it would look no different than this. But what scientists are doing now is they're understanding what these do and what they mean. Because what nature is doing is double-clicking all the time. In other words, the first couple of sentences here, assuming this is a grape plant, make a root, make a branch, create a blossom. In a human being, down in here, it could be make blood cells, start cancer. For me, it may be every calorie you